So a few weeks ago I made a video about dumb things I did in Pokemon as a kid. And since then I've realized that I actually forgot about a lot of really dumb things I did as a kid. And since you guys seem to really enjoy the last video, I thought it would be a pretty swell idea to have a look at even more dumb things I did in Pokemon as a kid. So if you guys relate to any of these dumb things I did in Pokemon, or have any other dumb things you did in Pokemon, you should definitely leave a comment down below because I'd love to hear what you guys have to say. And as well as that, if you haven't seen the first video I made on this topic, there will be an annotation at the end of this video, so you guys can go check that out. Anyways, let's get into this. So I thought it'd be a pretty good idea to give you guys a basic understanding of the type of Pokemon trainer I was as a kid. I was the kind of trainer who would never use any stat changing moves, because I thought that was stupid. I was the kind of kid who didn't know what repellers were, so I'd always run into Zubats and get very angry. So the first dumb thing I wanted to talk about was wasting my Master Ball, and I noticed in the comments section of the last video that a lot of people have done this as well, and this actually triggered a memory that I had from my days in Pokemon Leaf Green that I had completely forgotten about, but I wasted my Master Ball on a Ditto. For a few reasons. Firstly, I thought you could get more than one Master Ball. I thought there was a way you could buy many Master Balls, so I didn't think it was that big of a deal using my Master Ball and a Ditto. And also use my Master Ball and a Ditto because I thought Ditto was a pretty cool Pokemon. You know, it could transform into things like other Pokemon. And as a kid, I thought that was really cool, so yeah, I used my Master Ball and a Ditto. And when I realized you couldn't buy more Master Balls, I was very, very upset. So the next dumb thing I wanted to talk about was losing the first rival battle in Professor Oak's lab. Now I'll be very curious to see if other people did this as well, but this only happened to me after I first reset my game. But either way, it's still very disappointing that as a kid I was not able to win this battle. My Charmander lost to that Squirtle so badly, it disappoints me to this day. So what happened was, I thought I'd be a real Pokemon master, and I would use the Growl. I kept using Growl or whatever it was. I'm not sure if it gets Growl or something else, Charmander, but I was using that stat changing move, thinking that I was being such a Pokemon master, but then Squirtle knocked my Charmander down to the point where I was at like half health and I still hadn't even attacked the Squirtle yet, and I was like, oh fuck. And I started attacking it, but it was too late, and that Squirtle took down my Charmander, and I was very upset. And it scarred me ever since. I've just never been the same. The next dumb thing I did in Pokemon is probably something that a lot of people have in common with me. So, I had a Graveler on my team at one point, and I was trying to level it up into a Golem, but I did not know that this thing evolved through trades, so it got to the point where my Graveler was at about, I don't know, level 50, and it still hadn't evolved, and I was very upset because I thought Golem was a really cool Pokemon. Like, it's a boulder with eyes and hands. Who doesn't want a Golem? So, when I realized that I needed to trade to get my Golem, and I had no friends, so I couldn't trade to get it, I was just absolutely devastated that this happened to me. Like, life is so cruel, man. It is just way too cruel. So as a kid, I didn't really know what the PC was. I didn't know that it could magically store Pokemon and you could swap Pokemon in your team or anything. When I first played Pokemon, I thought that if you caught a Pokemon and it was on your team, it had to stay as a team member, and there was absolutely no way you could switch it out. So, as I progressed through the game, and I eventually got a full team of 6 Pokemon, every time I caught a Pokemon, it would go to the PC, and I would never know where it went. I'd never be able to find that Pokemon. And I was just like, okay. So when the day came that I found out how to use the PC, I was so shocked. All my beautiful Pokemon that I had caught throughout my journey, I could finally use. I could finally get that Beedrill off my team and replace it with a better Pokemon. Oh, it was blissful. It was a very blissful day. The final dumb thing I did in Pokemon was ignoring trainers. I tried my very hardest to dodge literally every single trainer I could. which is kind of ironic because battling is basically part of the game, yet I wanted to avoid every single trainer. I don't really know why, but I still do it to this day, so whatever. But I feel like if I had just battled all those trainers I ignored, I would have been so much more less stressed out, and I may have even completed the game, who knows. That's a bit of a stretch, but I might have been able to finish a Pokemon game. That would have been pretty amazing, honestly, knowing me as a kid. But, yeah, I feel like it's safe to count this as a dumb thing I did in Pokemon because it is probably the biggest factor as to why I sucked so much. So, yeah. That's gonna wrap up today's video, so I really do hope you guys enjoyed this because I did put a lot of effort into it, and if you did, I definitely recommend you check out part 1 if you haven't already because that has even more dumb things I did in Pokemon. I can't believe there's so many dumb things I did, it's ridiculous, but I definitely recommend you go and check that out, and subscribe if you haven't already if you want to see more content like this, and yeah, I'll catch you guys later. Click that annotation. Follow me on Twitter as well, because I like tweeting things. That was a sneaky plug. But, bye.